If you're looking for a fresh way to create ambient soundscapes and atmospheres, keep watching, because by the end of this video you'll know exactly how to use this genius reactor creation to make whatever ambient sounds you're looking for. Let's get into it. Welcome to the wonderful world of the Weirdo. I don't think it's a weird synth. There's a lot of stuff out there that's a lot weirder. So if you take a look at the user library entry where you can download the synth, you can see here it is an experiment to generate atmospheres and soundscapes for music. And based on that, I would say that this experiment was 100% successful, because this thing sounds fantastic and it does exactly what it says on the tin. It just creates endless paths, soundscapes and atmospheres, and it's just a dream for ambient sound design. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to set it running with a handful of the presets. It comes with about 60. I'm just going to set it running, and once you've had a quick listen, then we'll get deeper into exactly how it works and what does what. There you go, a couple of really good examples of what the Weirdo can do. Should give you a good idea of exactly what it's capable of. Some nice fluffy ambience there, something a bit darker, and something in between. Next up, we're going to take a look at the controls. We're going to get to grips with the GUI, so that way you can start using this fantastic creation to make your own sounds in your own projects. So what is going on here? How does the Weirdo actually work? Essentially, it's a granular sampler, and it's got some really neat automation features. It has a suite of simple effects. It's 2 filters, each with 5 filter types. It has a delay, a reverb and distortion, so lots of different options there to change the sound with some simple effects. And what it does do that makes it stand out from a lot of the other reactor ensembles that I've seen is it uses the awesome motion capture feature, which is one of Reaktor's best kept secrets, and we're going to dive into that in greater depth shortly, but you can actually see it in action here with the various parameters moving up and down and left and right, That is a result of the motion capture feature, and as you're going to find out, it really is pretty cool. Weirdo doesn't react to MIDI input, so hitting keys on your keyboard isn't going to affect any of the notes or pitch or anything like that. You simply hit the play button and enjoy the magic as it happens, and it's as simple as that. Let's take a closer look at the GUI, and what I'm going to do is switch to the initial patch and just mute for a second. And this is basically the Weirdo from scratch, so there's no automation or anything like that going on. This is exactly as it is when you kick things off. And what we can see here, centermost, is the window showing the sample waveform that's being used. And this is what that currently sounds like. And this is the playhead here. And you move the playhead by moving this bar here, and this will affect the sound like this. Let's turn that off for now. Up here you get to select the sample that's being used to generate sound. Let's keep it on the first one because that sounds quite nice. And here you can change the attack and delay of the grain. And here it's the pitch, semi, slide and jitter that you can affect. And on the right here you've got the amplitude. And you can see these dotted all over the place on the GUI, and we'll get to them a bit later because that's closely linked to the motion capture. So let's look at the menus below here. Here we can affect the grain length. So that is shown, this is the actual playhead here, and this is the outer limit of the grain length. So the closer that is to the playhead, the smaller the grains. And you affect that just by moving left and right like that, as you can see there. So that's very close. So it's very small grains, and that's very long. Similarly, you can affect the grain distance here, which you can't actually see represented above, but that is definitely going on. And let's just see how that sounds. So that's the grain length and the distance. You've actually got several sub-menus here, so let's click the next one, which is the grain pan, and you've got grain direction and grain pitch. Let's just run through those because they are quite self-explanatory, so we'll unmute and then we'll play with each one of those. So that's panning left and right. And that brings us to the middle window, which is where we start using some of the special effects. And got another drop down menu here, click, and you can see you've got filter 1, filter 2 and distortion. Currently on filter 2, so we'll work with that. And filter 1 and filter 2 are pretty much the same. You get a cutoff and a resonance, and there's 5 different modes to work with. I'm going to pick high pass, and just make sure that you actually switch it on. Here, that's the same for the filter 1 and filter 2, and let's just see what it sounds like. Let's turn the filter off and showcase the distortion. Nothing spectacular, nothing complex here at all, just a basic way of making things sound a bit warmer, a bit growlier. Let's just see how that works. There we go, nothing like a nice bit of distortion to make things sound a bit nastier. And that brings us to the third window here, which again is a couple more special effects. We've got reverb, and we've got delay, and we've got a very basic equalizer where you've just got low and high, boost and cut. Let's play with the other effects just to see what they sound like quickly. Nice bit of delay. Let's see how that works. So you switch the So that's a bit subtle there. You can sync to the host tempo as well, and you've got separate left and right feedback. And take a look at the reverb, which, as you can probably guess, when you're working with soundscapes and ambient sound design, reverb is going to be very crucial to that. So what we can work with here is the size, the reverb position and the mix. So let's just play with these and see how it's going to affect the sound. Let's go for a large size. So there you go, that's the effects windows and the grain manipulation windows, and that covers pretty much everything to do with the GUI that doesn't involve the automation. You've also got stereo spread option here, so let's just turn the sound back on. So turned off, it sounds quite mono. Turn it up and you get more of a stereo spread. That covers the basics of the GUI. What we'll cover now is my favorite part of this synth, which is the motion capture. And as you've seen here, you can move these things manually, but it's when you start capturing on the motion for the different parameters and ramping one on top of the other that things start to really take shape and to really sound good. So let's get into the motion capture, and you've already seen it working. And just to remind you, let's pick a nice example. Flux compensator is a good one. And you can actually see the movement going on there that's been recorded. And you've already got an idea of what's going on. This is the playhead moving. These are the filters, cutoff and resonance moving, and there's the grains being manipulated. So that sounds lovely. Let's get back to the initial patch. And yeah, it's not immediately obvious how it works. And you've just got to have a couple of things in place with Reaktor to make sure that you can capture the motion that you want. The first one of those is that you need the edit function switched on. So that's top left here. When it's highlighted, you can see it's on. You need to be in play mode. I think you know how that works. You simply press the triangle and it's highlighted and it works. And I just want to come back to these little sections here that I said are dotted all over the place on the GUI. All of these with an auto button and the bars and offset and smooth functions can be modulated with the motion capture. So simple as that. You just need the edit, the play and an auto function. And to get things going, you simply need to press the auto button. And you can see there it's in auto mode and it's showing some motion that's already been captured. To capture your own motion, you simply grab the fader and capture whatever it is that you're looking to do. Simple as that. On the left there you can see this is the bar, the duration of the loop, the duration of the cycle, and you can change that here. So if we want to make that run a lot slower, we can move that to 8, and it's the same option for anything that can be modulated. You can also change the offset and the smoothness of the movement. So let's just turn the smoothness up there, so that should make it a much less jagged affair. And let's just do the same here with the resonance. It's way too jumpy. Let's slow that right down. So that's a lot smoother. And there we go. Let's just set over 4 bars. And yeah, just playing around. Let's see what that sounds like. Turn the filter on. And that brings us to the end of today's video. That is the Weirdo, a fantastic tool for creating soundscapes, whether you're looking for something light and fluffy or maybe something a bit darker. This can definitely do both. Link is in the description. Go check it out at the user library, download it and start playing with it yourself. If you got value from today's video, and I hope you did, why not leave a comment below? And if the mood takes you, why not drop a like and a subscription? And while you're here, why not watch one of the 2 videos that YouTube is very kindly recommending for you now? I'll see you in the next one.